The Next Level Podcast, from Lynn Studios on the Texas Gulf Coast.
Engineering, construction, design, and development. We're building Texas.
Let's get into it.
Hey guys, what's up?
How's it going?
We're recording a podcast.
That's right. Number 2. Maybe
Yeah.
not for you, but maybe it's number 3.
Number 3 for me, but the audio didn't work the second time, so
So there's no proof of it.
Two and a half.
we are learning
That's
as we
right.
go.
Not a mistake until it happens twice.
Right. So, let's kick this thing off. We'll introduce ourselves, and then we'll talk about construction, because that sounds awesome. Cool?
Yep.
All right, you go first, Beard.
All right, Jarad Ramirez, integrator / general manager for Lynn Construction.
And I'm Rondie Singletary. I do manage sales for Lynn Construction.
All right, my name is Brandon Cox, and I do some marketing here and there on top of other stuff.
And we produce podcasts now. You can add that to the title.
Evidently, we're going to find out, right? Cool.
We didn't say will, we just said produce. So
There you go.
technically you produce them. So,
Yeah.
and we're working on that will part, so bear with us.
Yeah, so this is one of the first, if not the first, conversation that we're planning to record and kind of just talk about things around the industry, the company, educate people who may be either thinking about building, in the process of building, just want to know more about building, talk about, what's changed over the years, what's coming down the pipe, and really just help people better understand this complicated process we call custom home construction, right?
Yeah.
So with that, I'm going to get out of the way because you guys are the pros. And let's roll.
Okay, I think one of the biggest misconceptions that you have from a custom home builder and I wouldn't call it a kit build, but a customized home builder, we won't name names of course, but that once you actually move away from a set floor plan or a certain selection, that's where they make all their money, right? On the front end, we can do it for X amount of square foot, cheaper than a custom home, but you add 3 inches to the garage and they're twice as much as this, right? So I think that's a huge misconception in construction of what truly custom homes are, which is what we provide, to where you can pick the exact countertop you want to go in your house to a customized, where you have 3 floor plans to pick from, 3 countertops, 1 or 2 floorings. If you add a foot to the garage because your truck's bigger, it adds $20,000, where that's not the true cost of adding a foot, right? So I think that's one big misconception when you talk about custom homes and customized homes, right?
Yeah, I mean, our big selling point, right, when we first engage with somebody and they're wanting to build a house, from the beginning, it's, we want to design a home that's for you and for your lifestyle and,
That's right.
what you need out of life, out of your home for your life. And a lot of people, this is going to sound like marketing language, and I don't mean for it too, but they're living in somebody else's house,
That's
right? Somebody else designed that house. It worked for another family 10 years ago when it was built. It doesn't work for the family that lives in it today. Just sitting around this table, we can all probably think of something about our house that we live in that we don't love, right? That we would have done differently.
Or that we've already taken out because we didn't like it.
Yeah. So when somebody comes to us and they want to build a custom home, we make it clear up front, like, you want to go custom, like it's full custom,
That's right.
right? Like you want handmade doors from Mexico.
We'll go pick them up.
We've done that,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
So, but it's just, you're right. Here's your 3 countertops you can
That's
pick
right.
from. Here's your 2 different styles of backsplash.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is most of those floor plans, the people that designed them would never live in a house that way, right? It's just, how can I build the cheapest house and make people think that
Well, not only
they're
that,
perfect.
but these neighborhoods, and they're not all this way, but lately, some of these big volume builders, you'll have like 4 of the same floor plan and elevation side by side down the street.
Cookie
Right?
cutter.
Yeah.
Same floor plan, just different elevations. Make them look just a tad bit different to, I don't know.
Make you think
Make
you're
it stand
getting,
out.
Yeah, make you think you're getting a different house.
Yeah.
You're living in the same one your neighbor is, and both of y'all don't like the kitchen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's one of the big misconceptions. And yes, up front we may look more expensive, but I would say 75% of the time there's not going to be a huge change, right? Because we're designing it, we're going through the process with you on designing everything. So yeah, that once we actually get some colors on the wall, there may be small changes here and there, but we're designing it exactly how you want it, how you're going to use it. So it's definitely going to help you. And you may think you're paying more on the front end, but you do half of those things with a customized build and you're paying twice as much.
What's not on the line item though is the value you get in this is your home.
That's right.
This is what you pick. This is what you want versus this is what I had to settle for.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if you want to try to put $1 on that, you can, but yeah, I don't think you can.
No, I don't think so. It's almost impossible.
You know, it's funny. I manage the website, right? And I'm always looking at like, okay, where's our traffic coming from? You know, who's sending us referrals? You know, what's our page views? What pages are they looking at? And we get a ton of traffic from Pinterest. Like, I know that sounds hilarious because you're like, what? You know, but like organic traffic.
Right.
There's some Pinterest boards out there with homes that we've built and photos of, you know, the finished product, and you know they're pinned to like all these people's dream kitchen boards or whatever, and it's just so funny to see the traffic that comes to our site from Pinterest because people want customized things.
That's right.
You know,
I didn't realize we had that much content on Pinterest.
I know, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And it's just the links.
Your marketing
as well.
guy's hard at work.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
Yeah, and a lot of those things they see, they're not going to get in a customized house, right? There may be one or two things. You may get the batten board siding, but you're not going to get that closet that has 6 different shelves, heights, and pull-outs and all kind of stuff. It has shoe racks and all of that. With the customized, you don't get that, right? With us, we're going to build it, right? You can go to somebody else's Pinterest page, find a picture of it, and our trim guy can do it, right?
Speaking of, the one that's really popular is it's that closet with the built-ins with the vanity and like the big Hollywood lights around the mirror.
That's Jasmine's, right?
No, it's Crow.
Crow.
Oh, Crow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crow's outside is amazing, too.
Yeah.
I like the way they did the light up, the outside.
Yeah,
lights.
they did uplights.
Yep.
Yeah,
So, no,
fully custom.
fully
right.
custom.
Now, you could probably get that with a customized home, but you're going to end up paying a whole lot more.
Right.
Tons more.
And you'll get what they agree to do, not what you brought them. Probably.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
well, we'll do something like that, right?
Mhm. And it turns out totally different than what you expect.
As compared to the doors from Mexico that we met the guy at the border for, right?
Yeah.
That's right. And we had to put glass in them.
Right.
Couldn't come with the glass in, so we had to put the glass door in the store. So.
Wow.
But yeah, I think there's just a bunch of difference, and people think they're getting a better price up front, and it's not even close, right? When you go through it, and I don't care who's saying that they're not going to change something to build. We've never built a house, and the exact plan that we designed was built, right? So yeah, I can see how that can really happen in a customized house because you don't like anything to begin with, and then you didn't like it from the beginning. They put all the walls up, get the sheetrock up, and they start putting cabinets in or shelves in, and you're like, this is terrible, I don't like this. So at that point, what choice do you have but to pay the extra money to get it how you want it? When we think through that process in the beginning, right? Our software, you can 3D walk through the house and see if you like something or don't like it. So.
Well, that's where I was going next. So, because it sounds like, oh my gosh, that sounds great, but it also sounds overwhelming, right? Like I have to make every decision, or, you know, I don't know what it's going to look like. So walk me through, pretend I'm building a house and I don't know anything, right? Like, how does this work? I show up at your doorstep, I find you online, I call you, whatever. What's next for me?
Yeah, so the best thing we would do is try to have a conversation. You know, how many kids do you have? How often do you spend time at home? Are y'all in extracurricular activities to where you're hardly in the house anyways, right? Try to ask some of the key questions to figure out how are you going to use this home.
You like having a bunch of people over
Yeah,
on the
that's right. Do you
weekends?
entertain? Are you going to spend most of your time on the back porch, you know, on an outdoor kitchen, or you can have a basketball court in the back where the kids, you know, you sit on there and drink your wine or whiskey and watch them play basketball. What are you going to do?
You need a place to clean your fish.
That's right. We ask all these questions to try to figure out, you know, what are you going to utilize for? How many bedrooms, bathrooms do you need? What other things are you needing in the house? And then we kind of go from there. Whether that means taking one of the 100 plans we have on our website and tweaking it, or starting from scratch, right? John's amazing at taking the questions that we ask, taking that, putting it onto a design for them to see, and like that is exactly what I want, right? So we have the luxury of having a designer that can do that. So once we get those, and then we can start to put a number to that. You don't want a number before, because there's no way you can put a ballpark on something until it's actually on paper. If somebody does, they're lying to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the big thing is figuring out, what are you utilizing the house for?
Mm-hmm.
You know, or you're never going to be home, so you can have tiny bedrooms while you're still sleeping in them. You want to have entertaining space. You want to have a game room because y'all spend most of the time playing pool or foosball or whatever, right? Asking those key questions to figure out, what are you using the space for?
Do you need a big home theater where you
That's
can
right.
watch the Cowboys lose every Sunday?
That's right. Or get in the playoffs and choke the first round.
Some
What-
fans
what-
can be triggered.
what are you using the space for, right? That's where we start. So we would have that conversation up front. We can, of course, give ballparks, but it's going to be a huge range. Most of the time, the ranges are about $60 a square foot, top to bottom, once we have a small conversation. And that usually it gets us in the realm, right? If once the design phase starts and you add a whole bunch of stuff, it's going to fluctuate the price. Or maybe you cut some stuff out once you see it, like, oh, I don't really like that, right? So that's kind of the starting process, and that's not a short process, right? A lot of people think, oh, I want to have that done in 2 weeks, right?
Mhm.
That process to get the first draft usually takes a month, right? We're not going to rush through anything. There'll be some communication back and forth, whether that's email, phone, however that may be, whatever's better for you, right? Some of our clients live in Houston. They don't want to drive 50 miles every day or every week to talk about design. We can do Zoom. We can email back and forth.
Mhm.
We had a client, we were building a house. From the time that we spoke to them, we met up, they came down once, built the whole house. They didn't come down till they got the key to move in, right? So it's just, how much do you want to be involved? We've had people live on the same site, and they're out there every day, right? So they're just...
To that end, though, the people who don't come,
Uh-huh.
right, they live far away, like, we have tools. They can check
That's
the
right.
progress anytime.
Anytime, from wherever they're at, even if they're not even at home, maybe they're on vacation. So.
Yeah. They just log in, see photo updates, send a quick note to the project manager, foreman, whatever.
There's images online at all times of where the progress is. There's all of that.
Very cool. So I walk in the door, I talk to you about wanting to buy a home or build a home. You get information from me.
The first thing you're going to tell me is, I want to build a house for $100 a square foot. That's the first thing you're going to ask me, can that be done?
No!
And I'm going to say, absolutely not. If
Not a good one.
Yeah, if somebody tells you that, they're lying, right?
Yeah.
Especially with the windstorm codes and
Yeah.
all the extra features that we standardly put in the house.
Mhm.
Never are we can't even build it for $100 a square foot, so we sure
Right.
can't sell it. So
You're not going to put custom finishes in it,
yeah, no,
right?
not even close. And you'd be surprised how much money that people think custom cabinets are versus the custom cabinets we build aren't way more expensive than prefab cabinets. In some cases they're cheaper, right?
Mhm.
Because we have kind of on staff.
We build them on site, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Or in our shop, we have a shop where it makes it more efficient to build them than a cabinet shop that's building cheap cabinets would. So,
Mhm.
We can have it pre-built and then actually put it in place.
yeah.
It saves on time as well.
Mhm.
Depending on how the flow is going to the project and how other projects line up with it. So there's some things we can do to save some time.
Yeah. So I've talked to you.
Right.
I've given you my life story. You've taken notes. You sit down with John,
Mhm.
our designer,
Right.
who is the man,
The absolute man.
the absolute man.
No better designer in the world.
And then, so he creates this floor plan, rendering, whatever. And then I want to see it, right? Because I told you everything, but I still can't picture it.
Right.
So John gives me the HGTV experience,
That's
right?
right. And the program that he uses, if you know the tile you want to use, it can be input in there. You can put the tile you want, the floor you want, the color shingles you want. All that can be on the render.
The last one I had him do for me, he hung a Van Gogh on the wall.
Yeah.
The Starry Night.
Yeah.
He can do all of that.
I think he put a TV in one with like ESPN on or something.
It may have been a picture of one of our homes that we did.
Mm.
Yeah, there's been a couple of them that he just put cars underneath the house, and it turned out that was the car of the client by coincidence.
Either it was coincidence or he asked the right question.
Yeah, or he asked the right questions. That's right. So,
Facebook stalking them.
Yeah.
I
So,
don't know.
so yeah, and you can do that. You can come in and do that,
Yeah.
or he can do a virtual video tour of the house and
Mm.
send it to you, right?
Very
So
cool.
there, you can do either one. You're busy. Everybody has work they're doing. A lot of people are working from home, so you can get it right there at home. In your
So-
shirt only with no pants on, eating Cheetos.
Watching the Niners beat the Cowboys.
Yeah, that's right. Have it on the second screen.
Nice. Okay, so John sends me this walkthrough. I'm looking through it, and we've had a customer do this recently, right? We never turned dirt, nothing, right? We're not there yet. We're just watching this video that came from John's vision, or from the notes you took.
Right.
She said, "I don't like that wall," right? In the walkthrough, we took the wall out. Am I thinking of the right house?
As we continue, maybe.
Yeah. So we got a testimonial from her. Cisneros.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, she wanted to move a wall.
That's right. Yeah.
And from the virtual walkthrough, I mean, that's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
Because
I think it was the one in where her dining room was. So like there was a
That's right.
wall for the dining room, and she didn't want it anymore once she went to the tour.
Mhm.
And they ended up adding the stone. I don't think the stone was on there before that either.
Oh,
That
in the archway,
separated.
that's
Yeah,
right,
that
that's right.
separated the kitchen
Mhm.
and the living room. Yeah. And I think there was because we ended up doing shiplap on 3 of the walls. I think it was fully enclosed, and there was a wall there, and it just made the kitchen look so small.
Mhm.
So they opened that up.
And all that she could tell just by the design, and the
Right,
walkthrough,
right.
the virtual reality. Yeah.
which is cool, because imagine having built that,
Yeah.
and then like you're getting ready to do like your rough in or whatever, you're like,
or sheetrock.
or moving in, and
Yeah,
you're like,
right.
man, I wish that wall wasn't there.
That's right. We're doing a punch list to get her moved in the house, and I really don't like that wall.
Yeah.
And then they're dead set on moving it, and there's a cost associated with that.
Right.
So you're not paying for the cost of something that you would have already taken away, right? So yes, I think you get a true cost up front, and it seems like it's more, but the value of everything else involved, I think, is 10 times more.
Mhm.
Right?
All right. So this guy here is the estimating pro,
Mhm.
right? So
Me?
yeah.
Debatable.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the reality of the marketplace right now. Like you alluded to it earlier, like nobody is building at least a nice home at $100 a square foot.
Yeah, we built
Impossible.
specs, we couldn't even build them at $100 a square foot.
Right.
It is impossible.
Right. So let's be realistic. Let's talk about, if you're going to build a high-end custom home, a forever home, your dream home,
Mhm.
what should you expect your investment to look like? Like, let's not get into, because every house is different, right? Every project's different, but there are some things that every house is going to have. Every house is going to have lumber. It's going to have windows. It's going to have doors
And have a kitchen, the bathroom,
Yeah.
a bedroom.
and fixtures. And so there are trends in the marketplace. There are things that are happening that affect, what's causing up and down swings. I remember during the early days of the pandemic, lumber was like you couldn't find wood, right?
Yeah, you were on a wait list.
Yeah.
You sure didn't want to pay the price when you did find it.
Right. So where are we today? Is the question I'm really trying to ask is it a good time to build?
It's always a good time to build. I mean, the reality is the market. There's always a need for housing, whether you're looking at it long term or you're looking at it as an investment to build it, live there for a few years, turn around and sell it and make money. Just depends on how you're going to pay for it. A lot of our clients, they pay cash, and if you have it, that's great. We can start right away.
Right.
If you're going to have it financed, it's a little bit different story. It just depends on interest rates and how comfortable the client is with what they're going to end up paying.
But it is doable and accessible.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have to be, living large to
Right.
build a house.
That's right.
Right. I
That's
mean,
right.
there are, I think some people would be surprised as to the ways that we can get creative and the people that we can network and hook them up with to help them with the financial end of things.
Oh yeah.
We have built some fantastic, beautiful homes for people who didn't think building a home was in their future until we, worked with them, talked to them, figured out what they were looking
Go
for.
through the process.
Right. So yeah, let's talk about material now. Are there any hangups today?
As far as timeline of getting material, wood seems to be at the ready here. Here lately, everything we've been ordering, we've been able to get either they have it in stock or it's a week out. Doors and windows, depending on what they pick, what our clients pick, can vary. What was it, 6 weeks now? At one point, it was over 20 weeks.
Yeah, it was 20 weeks at one point for windows. Especially if you wanted them, how people want them now, black outside, white inside. Right, you're waiting 20 weeks for windows.
That's like ordering them the day you sign the contract.
That's what
And still waiting on them.
Yeah,
Wow.
when you're ready to need them. Yeah. Still waiting 6 weeks after you're ready for them. Trying to get everything done that you can before.
And then you're stuck. I mean, you can't.
So we did a couple of them where we boarded up the windows.
So you could sheetrock and yeah.
We wouldn't put any trim in it, but we can like sheetrock it and take float texture. But that's pretty much, you'll be at a standstill at that point. You don't want to put any wood in there.
Right.
Get moisture in there. But yeah, it's a lot better now. Some windows can take some time to come in, but those are going to be truly custom, right? Like
Custom
some circle
sizes,
ones,
yeah.
or triangle windows, or you want one that's an octagon. There's no telling. So,
And that's what we tell everybody. If there's something you see, something you like, we can make it happen.
The Next Level Podcast, from Lynn Studios on the Texas Gulf Coast.
Engineering, construction, design, and development. We're building Texas.